Okay, so as you can see, I'm in the back of the ceramics room back here, and I'm getting ready to kind of give you guys a demonstration about how you're going to attach the handles onto your mugs. But one of the things I realized when I watch people roll out the clay and when I watch people getting ready to start putting this together is sometimes they're not looking at the consistency of the clay. So I wanted to give you guys a really quick video demonstration about what you need to pay attention to when you're making your cylindrical form out of the clay. It'll probably help you out in the long run, and you know, it'll save you a lot of time having to rebuild something. Okay, so here we are. I'm back here with the wedging table, and one of the things, let me just move this slab off to the side. One of the things that you'll probably be able to notice here is that this wedging table obviously absorbs water out from it, and it helps us keep the clay sort of the right consistency that we want to be able to sculpt or mold something or put something together. So here I have my slab that I'm going to be using for a mug that I'm going to core. First thing that you want to do is make sure that it's not too wet. Sometimes when people go to start forming the clay, it'll be way too wet and it'll start sticking to things, and it just doesn't work the way that you want it to. The other thing that you got to understand, and since the camera's showing you from up top, maybe if I turn this around, is when you go to attach this clay to each other, you're going to be using the slip and score method to actually have these two pieces attached to each other. The one thing though that you want to get away from is having too much excess clay. Alright, so first things first, let me come in here and just trim this stuff off so I've got nice straight edges to be working with, and I don't have too much clay that's overlapping. So here we go. I've got my nice straight edges, and now I can bring this together and actually put it right together. Now, one thing that I do watch is I watch a lot of people, and my clay's still pretty moist, so it's kind of sagging in together. A lot of people want to put this together by meeting end to end, right? Put both the ends together and hope for good things. But this is a point in the clay where it's really structurally weak. So you really don't want to do that. But then the next step that I see people do is they try to overlap the clay, which is, you know, it's a good thing to overlap, but then you have this really thick chunk or thick area right there that ends up being a little bit too heavy, and sometimes it can either crack or it can just weigh down on that one side. So what do? I showed people was to bevel the edges. It's just taking a piece of clay and just taking off, you know, part of the top angle and just beveling it a little bit so that it'll fit together really nicely with another side. And that's exactly what I want to do here. I'm going to take the sharp angle, or I'm sorry, the side angle here, and sharply cut off just an angle of it, just a nice kind of 45-degree angle, a little slant, a little ramp, so that it will touch the other side. Okay, so there's my bevel edge right there. I don't know if you guys can see that, right? It's not, well, there we go. It's a little bit slanted, and now I've got a straight edge right here. What I'm going to do, all right, because my bevel's right here, I'm going to flip this over and bevel the edge on this side. So now I've got a bevel on that side, right? People are going to ask, well, why did you flip it? Well, I flipped it so that when I pull this in on each other, both of the bevels end up touching, and I can add water and slip and score right on that seam. Alright, see how they're kind of slanted right there and they make a nice connection? Really, at this point, all you're going to be doing is taking either a needle tool, or I've got an old ID, and scoring. Make sure it's an old ID. Scoring the sides, and then with a little warm water, and I've got my bowl of water here, I'm just going to actually dab on some water there, and dab some water there, and then I can put this, oh, it fell, put this together. And this is, I mean, this is one of the things, if you end up having too much water with the clay, it will be a little, I don't know, it'll almost be too heavy and too delicate, and what ends up happening is no matter how much you slip and score this together, it'll almost want to fall in on itself. Then again, you don't want to have it too dry, like leather hard, because then you can't mold this and you can't pinch it, and it's not very forgiving. It'll almost start to crack. So before you guys start to attach any handles or anything, make sure that you make the nice bevel and that you slip and score that seam right there. And if it has a little bump or something, you can use the wire tool to just smooth it out, or come in with a sponge or a wet damp finger and just smooth out any imperfections that you have along the way. All right?